Hello, everyone, and welcome to another rendition of PTV FC. I'm your host for this episode, Ryan Johnston, and I'm joined by the lovely panel of Louie Pasculli and Jimmy Bliss. How are you both doing today?
I'm doing good, Ryan. I'm excited to talk about soccer. I feel like I say that every week, but it's true. I mean, I enjoy coming on this show and talking about soccer with you guys. So let's run it up.
Yeah, I'm doing really good today, Ryan. My Manchester United is beating Man City right now, so I could not be better, as well as the most hated team in England, Liverpool, lost earlier today. So it's just a great day to be Jimmy today, Ryan.
Well, we're going to kick it off with that Liverpool squad. They've had a really rough stretch as of late. They suffered another 1-0 loss against Chelsea last week. They've lost 4 out of the last 5 games, even though Mo Salah is leading the league in goals with 17. I think Bruno Fernandes is second with 15. He's having a great season, but their only win in their last 5 came against Sheffield United, who's last in the league, and they beat them 2-0. So they're down in 8th right now. Can they turn their season around? Because they were in first just a few short months ago.
I don't think they can turn their season around, but I think they can play a little bit better towards the end of the season. Now, are they going to make a push for the title? No, I don't think so. They just have too many injuries for on that squad. But I think they'll play a little bit better. But even getting a Champions League spot is going to be really hard for them. I mean, it's Liverpool, so again, I don't want to bet against probably the best front three in the entirety of the Premier League. But by the same token, they need to score goals if they want to play well. They can't afford to go out and not score a single goal because then they're looking at a draw at best. So that front three, I mean, we talked about last episode, they're either going to keep them in games or they're going to be the reason they don't win games because their defense has injuries. So it's Salah, Mane, and Coutinho. They have to do well and they have to produce in order for them to even have a chance at Europa or that 4th spot. But I don't think they'll get either of those. But that's going to be the key. But I know Jimmy feels pretty strongly about Liverpool, so I'll let him have this one for now.
Yeah, thank you, Louie. So everyone get your popcorn ready because I got a lot to say about this Liverpool team. So they go out today. They're trying to make their top 4 push, and they're hosting a team who's in their relegation scrap. They're playing Fulham, and they lose to Fulham. How do you lose to the 18th ranked team when you're the defending champions, when you are supposed to be the greatest manager in the world in Jurgen Klopp, when you're supposed to have the best front 3 in the world with Mane, Firmino, and Salah, and you don't even play 2 of those front 3 players in today's game? I just think that after today's game against relegation contender Fulham, they are absolutely done. They're not going to get top 4. They are going to be playing in the Europa League next season unless they win the Champions League this season, which we'll get to in a little bit, but I don't see that happening. So now they're in 7th place after playing 28 games, which is 2 more than Everton and West Ham, who are in 5th and 6th respectively, and 1 more than Chelsea, who's in 4th place right now. So they're chasing these teams who each have games in hand against them. They're 4 games back of Chelsea, and I feel like this is all because of Jurgen Klopp's really stubborn philosophy. Now he's going to go out there and he's going to complain about, oh, the coronavirus and, oh, the pitch is too wet and it's too windy. But you know what? Everyone else is playing with the coronavirus. Everyone else is playing with windy pitches and with the field being maybe not up to your par. But you need to make adjustments if you're Jurgen Klopp. You have a defensive issue, right? So your team has a lot of injuries in defense. Now that happens. People get injured. It happens all the time in football. But you can't just sit here and mope. Why do you continue to play 4 men in defense when your defense is the reason why you're not playing well? Your entire defense is injured. So once in a while, try to play 3 men in defense. If you think that you have such a great squad, why don't you play yourself, I don't know, Fabinho, Alexander-Arnold, and Robertson in the 3-man defense for 1 game and see what happens. This way you could have more players in the midfield, try to get more possession, try to be more progressive in football, try to get the team to play more attacking. When you play a back 4 with 2 men in center defense that have not played together before, you play Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's not a very good defender as it is, and you play Andy Robertson, who's a decent defender. He's better going forward, but he's still a decent defender. Like, I don't have any remorse for you when you're trying to crawl back into this top 4 and you're just continuing to play this 4-man defense. And every single time that you play them, they concede goals and they get ripped apart. So try to play maybe a 3-man defense every once in a while, see if that can do anything. Among that, like even above that, actually, the team selection today was terrible. So, Fulham, they're a relegation battling team, so they're not a very good team as it is. They're going to sit back and defend. They're going to be happy with a 0-0 draw. They're just going to try to soak up all the pressure, maybe counterattack every once in a while. So in that game, typically you play like more attacking progressive players to break down the low block that Fulham's going to play. But you know what Jurgen Klopp did today? He played Jota, Keita, and Milner. All three of them not great, at least not their best attacking options. Also benched Trent Alexander-Arnold. And you need to start players to break down that low block, such as Thiago, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Mane. Mane, one of the best left wingers in the world, arguably the best left winger in the world. Thiago, one of the best counter-attacking players in the league, as well as one of the best midfielders in the entirety of the world. Oxlade-Chamberlain, maybe not the best midfielder, but he's much more attacking than Milner and a much more polished, better player than Naby Keita, who's been a complete and utter failure since coming to Liverpool. So I don't see any chance of them being top four anymore, especially after Klopp's moping and he's complaining constantly. I don't think that this team has any chance of being a top four contender, nor do they really have anyone to blame outside of themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you both, especially during that point about Klopp's refusal to adapt his strategy. Really, I mean, when you have one of the best defenders in the world, Virgil van Dijk, out for basically the whole season, another really solid center back in Joe Gomez out for the entire season, you're forced to play midfielders in defense. I mean, your old strategy is just not going to work the same because that's not their position. They're playing out of their role. So if he remains this stubborn, it's going to be a really rough end of the season for Liverpool, and it's going to be a little bit before we see the Liverpool that we saw last year, where they were just dominating everyone. But Jimmy, you touched a little bit on that Champions League spot. There are currently 5 teams within 5 points for that final top 4 spot. It is Chelsea, Everton, West Ham, Liverpool, and Tottenham. Tottenham actually does have a game in hand. So does West Ham and Everton. They have a game in hand over Chelsea, who is currently in the top 4 spot with 47 points. But who out of these 5 teams, squeezes into this final Champions League spot?
I believe it's going to be Chelsea that makes this top 4, which will actually make my brother very happy because he's a Chelsea fan. But after appointing Thomas Tuchel, they have been very, very good. They've been nearly unstoppable, I feel like. And the reason why is Thomas Tuchel has reborn this Chelsea squad and has implemented the 3-4-3 for them. Now, Frank Lampard would usually play either a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. And a lot of times his wingbacks that he would play there weren't as good as playing as fullbacks. Like they weren't as good as left backs and right backs as they would be as right wingbacks and left wingbacks and right wingbacks, because they're more attacking, don't have to do as much pressure on the defensive side. So players like Marcos Alonso, Azpilicueta, and Mason Mount, they have been playing in what have been their preferred positions. Marcos Alonso, left wing back, Azpilicueta, center back, and Mason Mount up top at either left wing or right wing. These guys, as well as Ben Chilwell, who's been great as a left wing back, as well as Reece James as right wing back. These guys have all been pretty much reborn. And another thing that Thomas Tuchel has implemented that's been fantastic is he's been rotating his side to perfection. Everyone knows that in order to be a very good side, you need to rotate your squad so this way players don't get tired. This way they don't have to play 60 games a season as the top clubs do. So he's been rotating the front line. So you've been seeing him play Tammy Abraham as well as Giroud and Timo Werner up top in rotation. You've seen Ziyech, Pulisic, Mason Mount, among others, play out on the wing. In the midfield, you've seen Conte, Kovacic, and you've seen Jorginho. So they have been really rotating a lot. They currently sit in 4th place, and they should be okay to close out the top 4 with Thomas Tuchel's tactics of attacking with this 3-4-3, and with all these rotations and all these players being reborn, and especially Mason Mount, who I mentioned before. He's been their best player, I believe, all season long, and has become even a better player under Thomas Tuchel. I just think that they're the best of the group that you previously mentioned, Ryan. I think that they will close out in the top 4. They could potentially come in 3rd, I believe. I don't know if Leicester is going to continue their form they've been in because they have a lot of injuries, but I definitely do think that Chelsea is the best of that bunch. I do think that they will finish in the top 4.
So, Jimmy, you came prepared for last segment. I came prepared for this segment. Now, you bring up some good points about Chelsea. Hiring of Thomas Tuchel was the best thing they've done this season. He's absolutely turned that team around, and now they're winning air in great form. But I love me a Cinderella story, right? I would love to see, I've been talking about it since probably episode 2. I would love to see West Ham play Champions League football. I think 2 weeks ago I doubted them. I said they got Europa League, but now they're in a position where they really could have a chance at playing in that Champions League, and I am going to go through the reasons as to why. So of the top 7 teams that are in the Premier League, they have the 3rd fewest goals conceded, which is good because one of the teams is Man City, and they've only conceded 17, which is absolutely absurd to me that they've only conceded 17 games in a league that's as competitive as the Premier League, but whatever. So being in the top 3 for that is good for them. They also are only 2 points away from that precious 4th spot, and they also have a game in hand on Chelsea. They have 45 points, and Chelsea has 47, and they were only on match day 26, whereas Chelsea has played 27 games. Also, their form continues to be good despite the loss to Man City, which was honestly pretty much expected because it's Man City and they're going to run away with the title. But if you remember back to October, they drew with Man City 1-1. And so they scored 2 goals of the 17 on Man City. And honestly, for me, I'm perfectly fine with that. That makes me happy. Also, Jamie, I know you have some thoughts about Jesse Lingard. I don't know if they're good or bad, but because some Manchester United fans have different thoughts of him. But for me, I didn't think he was doing well in the Manchester United system, and he fits so much better here at West Ham. In his 5 appearances, he has 2 goals and 3 assists, so he's obviously having an impact here, and I think he's going to be a large portion of the reason why they would make a push for that 4th and final Champions League spot. Also, Antonio has 7 goals and Susek has 8 goals on the season, which is only 15 goals total, but that's also a third of the club's goals as a whole. So those two are playing relatively well. They're ranked 17th and 20th in the Premier League, which isn't blowing anybody away by any means, but even so, it's good to see them being able to produce at a decently high level for a team that nobody would have thought would be in this position this late in the season. So for those reasons, I really would like to see, and I really think that West Ham has the potential to be in that 4th Champions League spot.
Louie, I love your passion about West Ham.
I was very excited to say that segment. I'll tell you that.
I love it. I love to hear it, but I'm going to have to agree with Jimmy. I'm going with Chelsea. Most of the reasons that he mentioned are the reasons that I have, so I'll keep it pretty short. They're still undefeated under Thomas Tuchel, which is pretty insane to me, given how inconsistent they were under Frank Lampard earlier in the year with this pretty much the same exact squad. I don't think Thomas Tuchel made a single transfer in his short time in the transfer period. So he's done a great job with his personnel, and they have a very well-balanced scoring attack. No one player has more than 6 goals, which may not sound like a good thing, but I think it is because it means that if one player has a poor spell of form, that they can still score goals. They're not reliant on that one player, like Liverpool with Mo Salah. He has 17 goals. Tammy Abraham leads Chelsea with 6. And they have a couple players with 5, a couple players with 4. And I think that bodes well for them as a team because it means that they're not just playing through that one player and relying on their superstar to get all of their goals for them. But we're going to switch gears a little bit here, move over to the Champions League. The second leg for the round of 16 starts this week. And for these 4 games, these 8 teams, there was not a single draw between them. So I have to ask you guys, does any one of these teams stand out to you? Can any one of them turn it around in the second leg? If so, who?
Yeah, Ryan, for me, I think it's Atletico Madrid. I mean, we're talking about the La Liga, the future La Liga champions here. Diego Simeone knows that this is the team that's going to go far in the Champions League, and we've praised him on the show before. He knows that this is the year for them, and with the players that they have, Koke, Llorente, Carrasco, Suarez, they're all so good, and any one of them can have an impact offensively at any given time in any given game. And Chelsea's in some really good form, as we talked about earlier. But if any team is going to knock off Chelsea, it's going to be the team that wins the La Liga title. So I think Real, and they only need to score 1. I believe they're away. So if they score 1 goal, it'll go to extra time, and that'll be interesting to watch for me. I tell you, I'll be watching that game. But I think they do have a valid chance of turning this Champions League around and advancing to the next round.
So I'm going to go with Juventus to overturn the tie against Porto. So I think that Juventus, they kind of need to win this tie against Porto. They can't get knocked out in consecutive round of 16 games against inferior opposition. If you remember last year, they got knocked out against Olympique Lyon, which was huge for Olympique Lyon because they also went on to go to the semifinals after defeating Man City in the quarterfinals. So Juve is down 2-1 to Porto, and they already have their away goal. So all they need to do is score one goal and win 1-0, and they're through. Or they can win 2-1, and they'd be through as well because they already have the away goal advantage. So I anticipate Porto to play very defensively, not too many attacks. I anticipate Pepe to be right there in the center of defense, who has a lot of experience playing against Cristiano Ronaldo as they were teammates for a while. So in training, I'm sure that they had their fair few clashes. So I do think that they're going to be very defensive. They're not going to really extend their neck too much. They're going to be a little bit like a turtle, just staying in their shell, kind of, playing a little bit very defensively and only attacking on the counter, only when they need to. So Cristiano Ronaldo is the all-time Champions League top scorer. So he has to get on the score sheet. And I think he will. He definitely will. It's the Ronaldo narrative. Whenever Ronaldo, his back's against the wall, he usually comes out and he overcomes it. We saw it against Wolfsburg when they were down 2-0. He scored a hat-trick and won 3-0. Just his first season in Juventus, they were down 2-0 against Atletico Madrid, came back because he scored a hat-trick and won 3-2. We've seen it time and time again against Bayern Munich, I believe 2016, 2017, he scored a hat-trick to knock out Bayern. Now, I know a few of those goals were offside, but nonetheless, it was a hat-trick and they went through because of him. So one thing I have to say about Juventus is if they play their best lineup, which they will need to do, they will be okay. No more playing Dybala off the bench, Morata on the bench, Bernardeschi at left back, which I don't know why that's a thing. It just started this week. He's not a left back. He's nowhere near a left back. He's a cam. Why are you playing a central mid at left back? I have zero idea. Chiesa, same thing. He's best on the right, but they play him in the midfield or sometimes on the left. Doesn't make any sense to me. And I just think that if you play a formation that's not a 4-4-2, because 4-4-2 was effective in the 90s, it is now 2021. So we cannot play a 4-4-2 and expect to get good results. If you play something like a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, something a little bit more attacking, maybe play Dybala or Morata alongside Ronaldo, you're going to have a very good chance to take down this Porto team, especially when you need goals. Playing Kulisevic, or I forget his name exactly, the young kid that is usually a right winger, but sometimes they'll play him at striker with Ronaldo. He's just not going to get it done against a Porto team when you need to score goals. So play Dybala and Morata. I'm guaranteeing there's going to be goals scored if you play either one of those two alongside Ronaldo. Play Alexandro at left back. Don't put Bernardeschi there. Put Chiesa at right wing, because as soon as he was put at right wing, he scored a goal in the other game in the reverse fixture. So it doesn't take a scientist to think of ways for this Juventus team to improve. They're third in the Serie A for a reason, because they've been up and down due to them playing a 4-4-2, due to them playing everyone in the wrong position, due to them not playing the perfect starting 11, which most people would play. I completely forgot to mention Arthur as well, who's one of the record transfers. He didn't even touch the field like much at all this season. I don't understand what's going on between him and Pirlo, but I do think Juve must win this game. I think they will. I don't think it'll be convincingly, but I do think that they'll probably scrape by Porto in this game. Maybe a 1-0 win, maybe a 2-0 win, but I don't think that they're going to go too far in this Champions League. But I do think that they just have enough to get past Porto.
I like both of your picks for sure. Any one of these teams realistically can come back because they're the best of the best. That's Champions League football. They are the best teams in Europe. But I'm going to go with RB Leipzig. I think they're going to come back against Liverpool. They are at home now, so they have their home field advantage. They didn't get any away goals at Anfield, which could bite them in the back a little bit, especially if they let one in. And I think Klopp was saving Mane for this Champions League bout because he wanted his best players to be fresh, except Salah, I guess, to be fresh for this Champions League battle, because he knows that RB Leipzig is really good. They've won all of their last 5 games in the Bundesliga. They're currently second, 2 points behind Bayern Munich with a real shot at winning the Bundesliga title. And as we touched on it before, Liverpool is just looking like absolute doo-doo, dog water, if you feel so inclined. They suffered another 1-0 loss against Chelsea last week. They lost 4 out of the last 5. We talked about it all earlier. They're just not looking that too hot right now. And I think Julian Nagelsmann, he's a great manager. I think he should have a field day with Liverpool's lack of defense, really. But switching gears a little bit, we're going to talk about one of the other top leagues in Europe, the Ligue 1. It's a lot of the top leagues in Europe are either a 1 or 2 horse race, but Ligue 1 has 3 teams with a real shot at winning the title, I'd say. Lille, PSG, and Lyon. Lyon is in 3rd, and they're only 3 points behind Lille. That's the closest out of any top 5 league in Europe. And Lille is in 1st currently. So who do you guys think is going to win this league title?
I can't see anyone outside of PSG winning this title, Ryan. I just think that the pure talent that this team has is going to spur them to the Ligue 1 title. Now, they're getting healthy at the right time as well, as Neymar is almost back from injury. As you may recall, he missed the first leg against Barcelona just, I believe, 4 weeks ago. So he's nearly back. He'll probably be back full strength in another 2 weeks. So as long as they can right the ship until then, they should be okay. Di Maria is also nearly at full strength as he was injured, but he's back now. And I think with Mauricio Pochettino as the manager, they're going to be unstoppable in the league. We saw them win the league with Thomas Tuchel, and I think Pochettino is a superior manager to Tuchel. You won't find many people that are as high as me on Mauricio Pochettino himself, but I am really high on him. I think he's a fantastic manager. Mbappe, as if you needed any more credibility, Mbappe is just ridiculous. And if their 4-1 win at Barcelona has any indication, they are unstoppable on offense. Just winning 4-1, hat-trick by Mbappe, missing both Neymar and Di Maria, just starting alongside Icardi and Moise Kean, who I don't mean to, discredit them, but they are no Neymar or Di Maria. They are nowhere near the same level. So PSG have won the Ligue 1 7 of the past 8 seasons, so they know how to get it done. And I don't see a world where a team comprised of Neymar, Mbappe, and Di Maria as the front 3 don't win the league title. I think they're the best front 3 in the world. I know you can argue Salah, Firmino, and Mane, but I just think that these 3 are the best in the world. I don't care who you have behind them in the midfield or the defense. They're going to score goals. They're going to create opportunities. They're going to win you games. You could have, Sheffield United's midfield and defense behind, and they're still going to get Sheffield United into the mid-table just because of how good they are as a front 3. I don't think that this team is going to slip up like a lot of experts might be saying. I think that this team is incredible. I think they're going to make a big run in the Champions League, and I think that that's going to start with their success in Ligue 1 and how they are going to overtake Lille, and they're going to go on to win the title.
I still can't believe Ryan said dog water on the show. That was really funny to me. But I'm going to go with Olympique Lyon. I don't have too much here, but for me, their defense is the biggest problem thus far, and they've given up 25 goals compared to the 17 goals that PSG has given up. So that's a bit of a problem. Lopez, the Portuguese man, he has 10 clean sheets this year, which is good, and it looks good on the defense, but that's for me, that's too many goals. Now, the positive side or the plus side of this is that they average 2 goals per game, as they scored 56 goals in 28 games. So that's a plus side and a positive for Lyon if they do want to come around and win this Ligue 1 title. But it like you guys said, it's going to be hard to take out PSG. PSG just is the absolute quality of a team that wins the. It's like PSG is the Bayern of Ligue 1. And so although Monaco won a few years ago with Mbappe, it's going to be really hard for another team to do the same and take out PSG just because they're so good and their quality is just so much better than the rest of the league. But for me, if I'm going to pick a team, I'm going to go with Olympique Lyon. I'm
going to have to agree with Jimmy again on this one. I'm going with PSG. They're just way too talented for Ligue 1. They're really in a class of their own at this point. Jimmy mentioned Neymar coming back. honestly, I think Mauro Icardi is a really solid player. You know, you said that he's not quite the quality of Di Maria and Neymar, which is true. But, you know, he was really good at Inter. And to have him as a sub on your team is pretty crazy to me because he could start at almost any club in the Premier League. So they're just way too good, especially on offense. Their defense is also amazing. Like they don't have Sheffield United's defense. They have a really, really great defense and midfield as well. So it's got to go PSG. They're just too good. But that will do it for this episode of PTV FC. I'm your host, Ryan Johnston. For my panel in Louie Pasculli and Jimmy Bliss, thank you all for watching. Be sure to tune in next week because I'm sure it'll be a spicy episode.